Yo, good morning, everybody. Let's get it. We got some news out. Last night came out, Trump and China still going at it, and I'm going to tell you why I think that's a bad thing. Um, they've pretty much been stalling out this market with anticipation that a deal is going to get done. Now it looks like they're not even close to getting a deal done, as Trump threatens to raise the tariffs, and now China this morning is saying, um, that they're kind of pulling out of any possible deal. So with that news out, we are now trading around the 288 level. We'll go over that in a second, but I want to focus on more of the fundamentals of this market before we get into it. We still are in a little bit of an overbought condition market. As you can see here, we're quite above the 13 EMA, but also what I want to focus on is we still have upside room. Given our Bollinger Bands on both the weekly and the daily, as it looks to have been opening up. I spoke about this Friday. We kind of had like this sideways period where it looked like it was kind of getting congested, pulled back, tested the middle lines, and ended up actually gapping above on Friday, and then closing out strong. So the uptrend is still intact. We are going to be opening below the 13 EMA and the middle Bollinger Band on the daily chart. Now that's going to be important because that leaves us to believe, some downside supports could be in our time frame. But before we get into that, I want to focus on the psychology of this market. I personally think, based off how everybody else has perceived this market, that this entire run up started off as a bounce and then has been prolonged by the thought of a trade deal coming to, a reach an agreement. And right now, that doesn't look to be the case. So, well, what we got to look at is, yes, there was low volume on the way up. Will there be higher volume on the way down? How many people are going to get out? How much long-term money is in this market right now? How many people got, shook out over here in these lows and then re-entered? What I want to focus on is how many people are really going to be scared by this. Is it going to really affect the numbers, like economics wise? The earnings were great recently. The jobs report was solid. Our numbers are fundamentally sound right now. So what is going to happen? That's something we have to ask ourselves. And I have our weekly chart pulled up. And my main support level is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 weekly candles have been affected at this level here at 287.52. Now, if we go into our intraday chart and look where we traded pre-market, it's down here at this 287.52. We would have to break our pre-market lows from last night, or at whatever you want to call that, and work around there. Now, that's not to say that we don't have any support levels previous, but this is going to be my main target. We have a level here at 289.11. Now, 289.11 was also affected, this candle here, these 2 weeks, and 1, 2, and it was also around last week's low at 289.11. If you see, just a few ticks off, about 40 cents. I have last week's low marked off for us too at 289.54. But 289.11 is also going to be a key range based off our weekly chart, and those are going to be important to see how we hold. Like I said, I literally just sent out a text that pre-market really isn't as bad as we thought it was. Yes, from Friday's close, definitely not it's numerically speaking. But after this gain, we are right now back in with last week's low at 289.54. We are trading at 289.85 right now. Now, it's still early. We have an hour to go to the market opens. But will we hold last week's low? If so, that's a solid support buy if this area holds. We can look at our MACD. We were oversold last night, and now we're starting to get a little overextended. Our Bollinger Bands are super tight right now, so the range might be a little constricted. I would definitely expect that to change as the open arises and we get some, changes in that. The hourly, as you can see, wide from 285 to 295. So there is definitely going to be room for opportunity in today's market based off our levels. If we do hold 289.54, expect to migrate possibly up to this 290.44 range, and then we don't really have much until 292.28. So we do have a sizable gap to fill on the upside. As you can see here, we are starting to squeeze above our 13 EMA on the hourly chart. There is still quite a bit of time before this candle closes. So let's see, do we continue to squeeze further? And this is sort of an overreaction. I necessarily wouldn't think so. The market, as you guys know, reacted very heavily to the previous news on trade wars. That was a pretty sizable contribution to this sell-off. And as you can see, our range has been super, super tight. Like our intraday trading ranges have been absolutely nothing compared to what we were doing. And if you guys remember, if you were a part of this team back in these days, we were absolutely killing it. 40, 50% days before 11 o'clock, and we were able to clock out and enjoy the rest of our day. That's what being a trader is all about. Getting our money, making our trade off our level, and sticking to it. Volume was super heavy compared to what it was then, and if you guys remember, even at the end of the week, I was flat. I had no swing trade positions. I told you guys, I think the risk is a little extra if we were to hold. And, like I said, when there's risk to be added, I don't like taking overnight positions. Now, do our trading ranges increase? And does volume increase? Do we get a squeeze and fall to the downside? I don't know. Our Bollinger Bands are still tight on the daily. So I want to keep those two levels in mind. Like I said, the 287.52, the 289.11, and the 290.44, even on the upside at that 292.28. Keep last week's low in mind at 290.54, I believe. 289.54. 289.54, yeah, last week's low. So keep that in mind as we trade this week. I think it's going to be a week where we focus directly on the SPY. At least if it's not for this week, at least maybe in today's session, we'll see what happens. Maybe, we end up being relaxed. The market's relaxed. I don't know. I can't predict that. I don't think anybody can predict that, but we can prepare ourselves for whichever way the market goes. I do have a setup on Facebook I want you guys to check out. This was on last week's view. We have this nice 188 support level. And I want to focus on this because Facebook has really held up fairly strong throughout those overbought conditions. I want to see if this pulls back and holds this level. We also have our 13 EMA on the daily chart here. So I want to see if we do get some sort of consolidation, hold this, and then try to fill this gap, which is certainly possible. If we head over to the weekly, again, we're sort of kind of in overbought conditions. Remember, overbought markets can stay like that for quite some time. So I want to see a little bit of consolidation before anything. We are a little spread out between our indicators. So it's going to be one of those things where it could just be like an overnight hold or an intraday hold, something off that level. We are trading around 191 pre-market, so a few dollars off. If we do break that pre-market low, I'd expect us to come down and test that 188 level. So that's a Facebook setup. That's about all I'm watching so far. I was going to put together a small cap watch list if things weren't settling out, because I didn't want to swing trade anything in that market condition, and we needed some volatility right now. Or as of Friday, we really didn't have volatility, and I didn't like the risk-reward setup for the swing trade. So I guess we were kind of lucky to get some news. Obviously, it's not very good news for our economy, as trade wars are not beneficial to anybody. I mean, in the long run, yes, numbers-wise, to be fair, and for trade value, I understand where Trump is coming from. But as traders, we have to adapt to whatever way the market goes and make our game plan as so. So with that being said, I'll see you guys all in chat. Let's kill it this week. I'm so excited. Trade smart, trade clear. Don't really think with a political mindset. React with what's in front of you. I think that's the major tip I could give for us this week is just trade based off what you're seeing. All right. So I'll talk to you guys in chat.